Hello, this is Monique McDonald. And if you're looking for more one-on-one help with your voice and how to make it magnetic, I want to invite you to check out my coaching packages at themagneticvoice.com. Then click Transform with Monique and book a complimentary connection call. Let's see if we can find a package for you that will fit all of your needs. I'm so grateful for your listening to the Magnetic Voice podcast, and I can't wait to meet you and continue the conversation. Take care. See you soon.
Welcome to The Magnetic Voice, here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel, a show where speakers and singers learn how to be more magnetic and align their voices to the divine within. Today, episode 45, Transformational Rebel Branding with special guest Ann Bennett. And now your host, Monique McDonald.
Hello and welcome to the Magnetic Voice podcast. My name is Monique McDonald and I am here with a very special guest, Ann Bennett. Hello, Ann.
Hey, hello. Thank you for having me on. This is really awesome.
We're so happy to have you. So let me tell you a little bit about Ann. Ann Bennett is the founder of Renegade Branding, and she has spoken across the country and around the world. She's a best-selling author, coach, brand profit builder, and she's shared the stage with the likes of Les Brown, Jack Canfield, Sandra Yancey of eWoman, and Ann uses her marketing and branding genius to help women entrepreneurs and a few good men build their standout personal brands and boost their profits. Ann has 25 years experience in visual and graphic design, as well as all the renegade branding she does. And she's brought her talents to many major magazines, from Popular Mechanics to Vogue, where the devil really does wear Prada, according to Ann Bennett. Ann's personal slogan and the cornerstone of all of her programs is, "It's smart to fit in, but it's brilliant and profitable to stand out." Please help me welcome Ann Bennett. Woo! We're so excited you're here.
Thank you. That's really awesome. Thanks for the awesome intro.
All right, so we're going to get right down to it. Your mantra is, "The more fun I have, the more money I make." I love that. So my question to you is, in these transformational times in which we're living, how do you handle the challenge of keeping it fun?
That's a really, really good question. I personally find a way to laugh at myself every day and enjoy whoever it is I'm with. I wrote this book. I don't know if I told you, I wrote this book called Laughing Your Way to Loving Yourself. 12 steps, 7 habits, 4 agreements, and 1 cup of veggie soup for the soul. It was like my response to, the chicken soup for the soul books, right?
What a great title.
So we just made fun. We made fun of everything and everyone, and then gave a little, irreverent wisdom.
That's amazing.
In that. But I think, as entrepreneurs or as just, living during these times, I mean, hello, this is like, I thought the 60s and 70s were really challenging. I think that this time actually is pretty equal with what's going on in the world and how we relate to each other and all the different, everything's just bubbling up to the top, right? So there's no longer the sense of you could avoid the world or other people. that are different than you, or, it's really a time that's calling all of us to really step into our gifts and our power and our passion times 10. And as a group, not just as an individual doing whatever you do, but as a community.
Exactly.
And I think that's super important right now.
I totally agree. And I think embracing that thing that does make you stand out from the crowd. I think, we came together in such an unusual way in this pandemic, or the thing that made us all stop for a moment, whatever. Some people object to that word, if you could believe that.
Yeah, the last 3 years of uncertainty, and I don't know where the heck I'm going.
And that's right, that uncertainty. We had to really figure things out about who we were going to be in the presence of all of this uncertainty. And some of us, I think, did better than others. I think that for me, myself, I had to learn how to have fun alone in my apartment. You know what I mean? I had to figure out how to have, make life fun from within. So I was really, I was really excited to talk to you about this, because these are, that age-old adage, may you live in interesting times. We definitely do, don't we?
We all signed up for that, didn't we? I think it's so amazing to really understand, from my point of view, I create everything in my life, how it is and how it's not. So when I look at, and I don't know if it was you, Monique, or someone else I was talking to recently, is we chose to be here at this time, in this space, in this country. All of that is not by accident. All of that, wherever you live in the world, it's not an accident. You live in Paris, or you live somewhere in the countryside of, Romania, or wherever you live. But we all have gifts, and we all have things that we were brought to as we came to the planet as children. We all have these gifts, and we all have these messages, and we all have things that we need to share with each other. And this time is really calling us to open up our mouths and communicate. Really communicate. The voice is extremely important, as you know, in your own line of work. Being able to speak your passion in a way that touches deeply other people, extremely important right now.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you for bringing me right to my next question. Why do you love public speaking, and why do you call it the fastest way? I love this. The fastest way to get visibility and make bank. Love it.
Well, it's like music, right? Branding and messaging is really not different than music and singing.
Okay.
I know we think of them as separate, but they're really not. And this is how they relate. Your brand has a voice. It has a message. It's like a really, if you thought about what, if your brand were a song, what song would it be?
Ooh.
It's really cool, because you're for me, it's Born This Way, right? Lady Gaga, couldn't have said it better myself. Really speaks to my heart. It speaks to why I do what it is I do. It's just my brand. And so with speaking, it's the fastest path to cash, because you get to really feel each other. Like music, how music can just transport people, and your differences disappear and almost melt with your love of the music. And it's the same thing when you're speaking and you're in front of people, once you get over being completely terrified and frightened. I'm not saying, I was, I always get nervous before I go on stage. And a lot of people listening, you might know very famous actors, I think Henry Ford was one of the most famous, that would throw up before he went on stage. So lots of performers are not extroverts.
That's right.
They're not. But when they're professional, so when they perform, it's like I always say, Monique, it's showtime. This is my persona, my personality when I'm on the stage. Is it everything that I am? No, but it is a portion of what I can magnify. Same thing with the brand. It's not everything that you are. It's the portion that you magnify for the public, if you will.
I love that. And, not everybody is doing speak to sell. Not everybody's out there doing presentations. But what I love about your particular way of branding, that renegade branding, is that, yes, it's for business owners and public speakers, but it's for everyone. So we have to think about branding when we're having a relationship in a way, right? We have to think about it in this very unusual way of being really clear about, as you say, you don't give everything away to everybody.
Well, I think, it's an interesting point. We think of a branding or marketing or sales or any of the things that you use to build your business. The three things you have to do essentially is marketing, which is branding and messaging, sales, which is, the exchange of energy between you and your client, and serving your clients. Those are the only three things that you ever need to really focus on. In order to build, a huge business over six figures into, $500,000, $1 million. But I think we think of branding as this thing like, branding is, the clothes I wear, it's a tagline, it's my website, it's, all these pieces, and it's actually not. In its core, right. It is the essence of who you are.
See, I love that.
And you're controlling the message.
Yes, because we think, or I did before I had a conversation with somebody about this, we think about it as the visuals of our business, right? The colors and the, and that's what I learned, that like everything in life, it comes from within.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's like an expression. I think I might have said this. We all have like an inner rebel that wants to become an outer rock star, in the sense of not like, you're a rock star like Gaga or somebody, but more like seen, yes, acknowledged, appreciated, honored for the work that you do. And that people are happy to pay you whatever you're asking. So there's a level of owning. I say it's own, honor, and unleash who you actually are, so that other people can see it and go, yeah, Monique, no kidding, that's who I want to work with.
I love
just
that.
Like that. Ooh.
Own, say it again. Own,
honor, and unleash.
That's so powerful.
Yeah. And that's really the work that I do. And I know it's the work that you do. We just have a different, that's what we're laughing about it, right? We're like, we have to talk to each other. It's so great. Because we're just coming at it. You're coming with your expertise and voice and performance and, being present and using your inner voice, using your voice and how you do that. And, I'm coming at it from my visual background. So, and the writing background, because that's, I've been doing that forever. Right. And so I think that's, people miss, and a lot of times I want to say, everyone has these gifts, but we have a tendency we don't own them.
Yes. Own, honor, and unleash.
Them, right?
Yes.
It's like we just go, I do that all the time. I'm not going to charge money for that. That's just what I've done since I was 4 years old. And I'm like, yeah, that's the thing you charge the most money for. That thing that's easy and fun, like back to easy and fun and
Right.
laughing at yourself. That easy fun thing. Like who made up the idea that it had to be hard?
I know. It's so true.
We made that up.
It's so true. Okay, now I can't let you go without asking this. You actually did work at Vogue and met the devil that wears Prada. Tell us about
I
her.
did.
Give us one little story about this icon of a woman.
Yeah, it's so amazing. You know, I'm the kind of person who felt like she never belonged anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of a unicorn in my life, you know, overly sensitive, cared too much about people, had a lot of emotion, right? So when I got to Vogue as a place to work, it was extremely challenging. But what I learned about Anna Wintour is that she's running an incredible, she's like the CEO of this enterprise called Vogue, right? And she's in control of who gets seen and who doesn't get seen and all that kind of stuff. And I think, you know, she had all these rules. I didn't work directly for her. I worked for the design director. So it's a little split. So her side was like fashion. Well, she was like the queen of everything. She was the queen of everything, but she had, you know, the fashion side was more of her domain, and the art side was run by this guy named Charles Churchward. And so there were different rules of how you were to interact with her, which was basically you were not to interact with her, not to talk to her unless she talked to you, not to acknowledge. Like, no, that was not something you were going to do. But I didn't know that because I was really under somebody else's, you know, under their rules and regulations. And so, you know, it used to be like at 4:30 in the afternoon, almost like clockwork, is when I get a cup of coffee. Downstairs across, this time Vogue was on 42nd Street, right in Times Square. So I'd walk around the corner and go to the Starbucks, always. So here I am. I'm just like leaving the office, running for the elevator that is now closing. And if anybody has been in New York, you know that you just stick your hand in the door.
Right. Because you don't have time.
You just get brave.
Right.
You don't have time. You're going to stop the elevator. Otherwise, you're going to wait 15 minutes or whatever. You're just like, oh, no, that's not happening. Wham! I put my hand in the door. I step into the elevator. I turn around, and I'm standing right next to Anna Wintour. There's no one else in the elevator. Wow. Because one of the rules are you don't get in the elevator if Anna is getting in the elevator. You know, this is her quiet, you know, I understand later, this is like her quiet time, her time to herself, her own thoughts. She doesn't want people at her asking questions, right? She doesn't want to use her time that way. The woman was extremely good at managing her time and other people's time. So there I was looking over, and, you know, I have a big grin on my face because that's
who you are.
When I get embarrassed or when I get like, I'm in big trouble, I just smile really big and gloat like all this energy goes out. And she just gave me these eyes, you know. My father kind of had these eyes too, these like snake eyes where they just like, they get bigger. They look at you with no smile, but the eyes get big. Kind of like a viper. And you're like, oh. So I just kind of stood there, but we were in the elevator, so I didn't say another word.
You know, I love how you're talking about her because, you know, whenever you meet someone that, you know, I've met a lot of famous people in VIPs, and there is, you know, there is, when you are famous, everybody kind of wants a piece of you. And so there are, you know, everybody deals, and you're constantly being seen and heard. Right. And so we deal with that in different ways. And sometimes we can be really misunderstood, and to be a powerful woman in that much of a power role, I'm sure there were things she had to do in order to take care to take care of her business and herself. So I love how you gave her a little, a little grace instead of calling her
Oh
the
yeah.
devil.
It's a great title.
It is.
And,
It is. And I love the movie.
Excellent title. And the movie was really great. They made her really nice, because the book, I don't know if any of you have read the book. I haven't, but apparently it's more true.
Okay.
True to life. And of course, the movie is based on a true story, right? Based on a true story. So they, take their liberties to do what they do with it. But one of the things I'll say about her, she's really actually extraordinary. And she's someone who knows whether it's good press or bad press, it's all great.
That's amazing.
And she'll make that great no matter what it is. And that's a terrific lesson for a lot of us who have to look good or want people to like us. Any of those, particularly women we've all been raised with that. And so it's how to step out of that. And when you think about any really high-powered woman in any industry is definitely known as a big B.
Yeah.
There is a capital B in there.
Okay, so now thank you for bringing me to my next question. So it's just amazing how the beginning of your career, in art and working at Vogue, that it brought you to being this renegade branding person. So I took the quiz. So this is one of the gifts that Anne is giving us today. So everybody listening within the sound of my voice, you're going to get this downloadable quiz to find out which one of the renegade archetypes you are. So I was a nurturer. And
that is not a surprise to me. Is that a surprise to you?
Not at all. So tell us what the four renegade archetypes are, and what does it mean? What knowing which archetype you are, what does that mean? What does that give you?
Yeah, the power of it. So the archetypes are you're a nurturer, a disruptor, an innovator, or a geek. And a lot of people in obviously service-based business, or if you're a healer or in the health and wellness industry, you immediately, or you're a mom or you're a woman, you immediately go to, I'm a nurturer, which may or may not be true. Yes, we're all nurturers, but what you want to lead with in your brand is what people see when you walk in the door.
Got it.
It's not, so like I'm really soft and mushy and a big nurturer, but that isn't my brand. My brand is like, rebel, rebellious, trouble kind of person. Always upsetting the status quo. Right. That's more of a disruptor, someone who loves to do that, say things that somebody else would never say out loud.
Wow, you've been on your best behavior, Anne.
I've been pretty good, but I got a short leash. That's always good for me. But I think, we think we're naturally nurturers. That's just where we go. But I do work with people who are disruptors in the healing space. So you can think about, some of my people that are hypnotherapists, that are naturopaths, all these different industries. They're more of a disruptor type of personality. They have we all have multifaceted characteristics. It's just to say, when you're doing a brand, you want it to be one thing. And so the quiz or the assessment, the renegade assessment, because it's 9 questions, if you don't overthink it and you just go through it, pick one answer to each question, it will reveal your primary personality style.
Yeah. And
the one that everybody
yeah,
sees.
because I did turn up to be a nurturer, but I think I scored pretty high as an innovator as well, a creator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what I do with my people, because of course everyone that I work with is a rebel, renegade, or a revolutionary. You can't tell them, pick one thing. They just won't. I love the people I work with because they keep me on my toes. But I think, so I say you have a primary and a secondary. So basically, if that were the case, Monique, you would be a nurturing innovator.
Okay. This is super exciting. So to take that a tiny bit further, that means that my branding would have those kinds of things in it. And
yeah, so you would get like when you present from the stage. So this is rather ironic because you are a rather charismatic and big personality when you're on the stage, right? So, but when you think about it, when you think about Oprah, so I use Oprah as like a classic nurturer, the girl next door. I was totally
cool with actually the examples you gave. I was like, oh hell, yeah,
so
I could hang out with these people.
Yeah. Like I give examples of like, here's 3 people that we all know have huge brands and that we all know the brand. So I give those examples so you can go, oh yeah, these are my people, right? These are my friends. But I think, so when you get the assessment, it'll tell you your presentation style, your messaging style as a way of being, not exactly how should I message, but a way of being in your messaging, what your products and programs should be like, right? So you get to see like, oh, if I'm a nurturer, my presentation style is going to be a particular way. It's going to be like you can be vulnerable on the stage and people will cry with you. And that's good, right? That nurturer can create that community all from the stage, where like a disruptor is not really going to be creating community so much.
That's interesting.
They're going to be creating, putting people into a different way of thinking about something.
Oh, I love that.
An innovator is going to be creative, but they're more like future thinking and bringing it to present.
That's right.
It's like Steve Jobs I use as an example, like understated, where like a disruptor is going to be a peacock, because they're more like a rock star.
Right. Got it.
In their energy. Right. So, and a nurture is just like fluffy, loving, warm, yummy. We already know that about you just by seeing you, right? And being in your presence.
Oh, well, thank you so much for this gift. And everyone within the sound of my voice will be getting this downloadable. I'm so excited for you. Anne, our last question of this, it's kind of sad that our time is over. We'll have to have you back. It's been a blast as always to talk to you. And so our last question is, what does it mean to you to have a magnetic voice?
That's so great. A magnetic voice is a voice, you want to listen to. It's such a great question, right? Because it's like, because you can have a radio voice, but it's not magnetic.
That's right.
Okay. So it's not about the tone, although we have it as human beings like a lower tone in general to listen to. But I think a magnetic voice is one that you resonate, that you're hearing truth.
Oh, yes.
That there isn't a lot of fluff between the voice and you, that it actually resonates with your heart.
Oh, I'm getting chills. Thank you so much, Anne. What a pleasure to have you here with us. on the Magnetic Voice podcast. Everyone, be sure to get your free gift and check out Anne's website. She's the renegade branding person, the rebel, and it's just a blast. Just being on your website was a blast. Because
Yeah,
you've
my
got that
website's pretty
visual
fun.
element being an artist, and so it was just like a feast for my eyes. So thank you
Thank you.
so much, and I'm so grateful that we had you. And to my dear listeners, I know that you had a lovely time, and be sure to check out themagneticvoice.com and tell me how you loved today's podcast. Looking forward to seeing you soon, and remember, you are the voice. All right. Let's take a deep centering breath and bring ourselves to this moment, here and now. And as we breathe and know the truth of this moment, we open our mind and hearts to our special gifts, the essence of who we are, and learning how to allow that essence into every area of our lives, in our business, in our relationships. We allow this essence to show through as we connect consciously to the divine within and let that divine energy move through our individual hearts, so that every time we speak, every time we open ourselves up to being seen and heard, we allow the essence of who we are to mix with the divine essence, so that we are constantly in conversation with the divine that lives within us, as we have conversations with those that are here in our lives. All of our relationships, all of the ways that we express ourselves, we allow this beautiful energy to move through us. We invite our particular archetype, whether we're nurturers or innovators or rebels or geeks, whoever we are, we embrace this essence and we mix it with divine love and allow it to fold in so that it can be released out. We own, honor, and unleash our essence into the world more and more every day. And for this and oh so much more, we are truly grateful. And we say thank you. And we let it be. And so it is. Amen.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Magnetic Voice here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. This channel is made possible because of listeners just like you. If you would like to support the channel with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Magnetic Voice is copyright 2022 Monique McDonald, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Kropf and used with permission. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.
Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The Soulworks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. Soulworks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the Soulworks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.